Welcome, everybody, to Casting for Two, the podcast with your host, that one random guy who we just can't get rid of, even though we really want to. But he's still around. His name is Chris, and that is me, that random guy. I'm him. This is episode number 78, coming at you. 78 episodes. I never thought I'd live to see this day. Set number 70, and then it's a special one. It's a good one. I have a great guest. Before I get into that, I want to talk. I like talking shop because what it does is that I waste time, and then when the beatboxing ends, I have to hurry up and finish before it ends. So that's just how I operate. Twitter, Instagram, at Casting for Two. Go to it and like everything, or retweet, or do whatever you want. Really, it's your life. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I will tell you. Okay, I lied. I'm going to tell you one thing to do, and I want you to listen to every episode, including this one, because I have a great guest today. He is the lead singer in a band. They're based out in Nashville, and Mr. Patrick Keenan from the band The Winter Sounds. And I had just a great time listening to them. If you go on this page, if you're on the the website, I have a link to where you can buy their music, and it's all good music because he makes good music. His band makes good music, so therefore you must go out and listen to it. But and you know what? When you're listening to this episode, you can hear us becoming honchos. That's how close we are. I only call people who are more than friends honchos, and that's what we are. But enough of me talking about it. Let's just get into it. So, Chris, cue the music, please, and thank you. Hey, Patrick, what's going on?
What's up, Chris? How are you, man?
I'm doing well. How's your day going so far?
It's good. Very good.
Yeah. You do anything exciting?
No, nothing.
Nice.
I've just been I'm just finishing up some classes, school.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, just that, just all day, all night.
What kind of classes are you taking?
Just philosophy classes. Yeah.
Right on. I know. Where are you right now? What city, state, at home address?
Yeah. I am in Oxford, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of going back and forth between here and Nashville.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, which one do you like more?
Well, I definitely like Nashville a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's just different, they're different places.
Oh yeah, different vibes for sure.
Yeah.
Where
are you out at?
I'm in San Antonio.
Nice.
Yeah, I just not just, but I moved out here from Oregon, and then I was here for a little bit. Then I moved to Chicago and moved back.
Oh yeah, very cool. Yeah, we have played in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while though, but yeah, it's a really pretty city. I remember being surprised just because I had no idea what it was going to look like, and it's pretty awesome.
If you stay in the downtown area, the waterfront area, oh yeah, it's very nice, very touristy. Once you go past that, that's when it begins to look like butt.
Yeah, kind of cool butt though.
Yeah, cool butt. I don't mind upsetting people. I'm a Pacific Northwesterner, so I have that in me. I can't help it.
Yeah, it's probably hard to to kind of nothing really can compare to that in terms of natural beauty.
Yeah, I miss trees.
Yeah.
I miss seeing trees everywhere and everything's all green. I was telling my girlfriend, because she lives in the Pacific Northwestern area, and I go, there's no trees down here, and she goes, what are you talking about? Yeah, it's dirt, desert. It's a little shell shock.
Yeah, it is. I remember coming for the first time from where, I was from South Carolina. It's not as lush, but yeah, it's the upstate, especially the, foothills of the Appalachian Mountains and
Mhm.
then trees. But yeah, but I was excited. I remember initially going through Texas from just seeing all the stuff I'd studied in, elementary geography, like
Mhm.
seeing it for the first time, especially heading, West Texas out to, California. But then in terms of, I remember we stayed in Cottonwood, Arizona, because a drummer we had for a bit lived there, and
Mhm.
and there was no trees at all, and it was just like rocks everywhere, and it was pretty dismal, after it's kind of settled in, after the experience of it being fresh kind of faded a little bit. I miss, the trees.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. There's some about just having trees, and I like rain.
Yeah,
I'm just a huge fan of that weather. So, I remember when I was a young kid, we were going through Arizona, and we stayed at a place in Arizona called Flagstaff.
yeah. Flagstaff's really pretty though.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Is
It
that
blew.
northern? Is that like near the Grand Canyon? That's
Uh,
kind of like
I think it is, yeah. But I just remember Arizona blowing my mind because, oh, it's Arizona. It should be hot. Wait, it's snowing? What's up with this? So,
yeah.
yeah, no, Flagstaff is very beautiful.
Yeah,
Um,
and it is crazy how much the landscape changes dramatically, and then
yeah.
all the personalities of people, are affected kind of by where they grow up. I mean, like I always realized from going through New York, for example, on tour that after about a week, it would just kind of get to me, as much as I loved the city and I thought it was
Mhm.
really exciting to be there, coming from, being like in South Carolina. I mean, you pull up, you have a parking spot. I mean, everything's really far away, so you get in the car and
Right.
not like constantly surrounded by people, and
Uh-huh.
uh, I don't know. So I think you just when it's kind of your lifestyle, you're kind of used to it, so it's hard to adjust. So
Yeah.
so I imagine, yeah, being in San Antonio from the Pacific Northwest would be really tough.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to get used to it. Austin is very much like Portland, though. Every
Yeah,
time I go to Austin, I always get that Portland vibe. So one of these days, I'm gonna have to make my way over there or the Pacific Northwest, whatever comes first.
yeah, yeah. You're only like an hour from Austin, right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm not that far. It's just
Yeah,
uh, I'm one of those people that likes to find work before I just move.
right.
I'm one of those weird people. So
You don't
uh,
like to just chance it all,
not
throw,
really.
throw it all out the
No,
window on a whim.
nah. I've been there, done that. And like
Yeah.
nah.
Well, you
I'm a
can't, yeah, unless you have like a ton of money saved, you can't really just go somewhere without kind of sort of not taking advantage, but having to rely on other people to safeguard you through,
right,
weeks or
right.
months, whatever it takes to find a good job.
Well,
Yeah, it's always a crazy adjustment. Like moving up here from Nashville, we had a deposit in our last place, and
hmm
my roommate is still there, so we never got that we haven't yet gotten that deposit back. So we put down another deposit on a place here. Then we
hmm
have two cats, and they just have like ripped up the carpet, pretty much
Ooh.
the perimeter of the entire house. So like that deposit's gone. So then there's like two whole deposits that just, we're like sort of counting on to kind of help transition to another place. But it's like, I mean, just that, even just thinking of it in terms of the single deposit you have to pay, just seems impossible sometimes to imagine. Like, I don't know, just moving in somewhere new. It's like,
Yeah.
how can that even be afforded? But
Well,
yeah,
because when I moved to Chicago, I mean, my thought was because I moved over there for a job. I was like, oh yeah, Chicago. I'm only like 45 minutes away from the city. I can do this, and this, and I spent my entire year there just working, just trying to uh, have food and have a place to sleep. So that was
Yeah.
that a little bit of a bummer. I did make it out to Chicago, but still, I was just like, oh man, I wanted to see so many shows and performances, stuff like that, and I didn't really get to. So
Yeah, it's just kind of like it's hard to make that kind of stuff happen. It has to just be like a part of like a commitment, something that you just
yeah.
commit to, and then. But yeah, I mean, I'm the same way. We're only an hour from Cincinnati,
Hmm.
here in Oxford, but I almost never go because it feels like. I mean, I don't know. You might be the same way. I'm pretty content, just kind of with my own personal space. I'm not
Hmm.
really, even though like I know my life would be better if I went to see more shows in Cincinnati, or went and just, I don't know. We've done stuff, of course, like the zoo and the museums and
Yeah.
things, but doing that more often, because in Oxford there isn't as much of a, you know you can't just go out the door and go see some great performance or whatever. But yeah, so it is like, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with just the internet and my own creative kind of output, and like, so whenever I do have free time, that's kind of what I do
Yeah,
is just,
YouTube is a nice thing.
yeah.
No, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
there's like an experience that's you're obviously losing by being in front of like a physical object, like a piece, work of art that I think is, I don't know. I definitely appreciate that more now that I
mhm.
haven't done it in a while. Like or also realizing just the uniqueness of something physical in the world, that because that's kind of disappearing with technology. I mean,
Right.
so, but yeah, I don't know. It is a money thing and it's time. And if you're, I don't know. I'm in school too, so it's just work and school, and then that's pretty much it.
No, no, I hear you. And what brought you up to Ohio?
I moved because my wife got a job
Mm,
at Miami University.
okay.
So, and I didn't move right away, and we've spent a lot of time apart through the years where we've just been in different cities doing different things. Like I actually lived in Chicago for a while she was in Korea,
Mm,
and I think we're okay with that for the most part. But then, of course, there's just it's hard to go back and forth. So then after a while, it's like, well, I think I'm going to come up here for a little bit and kind of sink in and kind of work on some stuff here that's, at least for me, everything's kind of put in terms of the band. So I don't have to necessarily play some shows for the remainder of the year. I can, spend as much time as I can with my wife and work on some new material or whatever. So it's kind of starting to work out a little bit with like more of a manageable schedule with the band that kind of fits with the different places. But I'm also going to spend the summer back in Nashville,
mm.
and she's going to stay here in Oxford.
Gotcha, gotcha.
So
And but well, let's talk about the band for a sec, and then we'll go back to cities, and then we'll talk about superheroes.
yes.
So the Winter Sounds. I had the chance to listen to Runner and Church of the Haunted South, and I really enjoyed it. What's going on with you guys? You guys working on some new stuff?
Yeah, yeah. Just been really, I mean, been so close to putting some stuff out all year, but just waiting on a few things to kind of line up. We've got, enough music recorded at this point, but there's just, I don't know. I don't want to do a traditional album release.
Hmm.
That just requires a lot more money than I think, is available at the moment to just really do it upright. So instead, and this is kind of a bit more fun anyway, it's just writing a ton and recording, and then kind of constructing a few bigger projects that are going to kind of come out like through the year,
Hmm.
like a video game and a Christmas music video,
Oh, cool.
for a song that been working on for a while. Then of course a new album and some shows and stuff. We're looking at some festival dates. Are probably hopefully going to line up for the fall. But yeah, and that kind of stuff I think is like, for me at least, the aesthetic experience of, or I guess the reward of being creative, kind of isn't strictly um, confined to just writing and recording music anymore. It's like this whole kind of project that kind of centered with the Winter Sounds kind of as the, I guess, the flagship for it all, and so the video game has just been like an idea that's been kicking around for a really long time. And I have a friend and that he does a lot of just he works within the kind of like parameters of the old NES games,
Hmm. Okay.
so and he knows that stuff. And so I've been using like the plugins and writing just a ton of music that kind of fit with I, that style of music, that 8-bit sound.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, So that's been really fun. But
Are you a gamer yourself?
I'm actually not. But
No.
it's what sucks is I should be because, but I just am not right now. And I
Yeah.
think it's just been a time thing. Like I don't own any system, and I haven't really played a game in a while. But I kind of fall into that world a little bit because I just most of my friends are, and I just
Right.
think it's awesome, and I want to get into it. But I remember from the times when I was playing much more seriously as a gamer, I was it was all I did, just all consuming.
Right. No, I used to when I moved to Oregon, I had video game consoles that my parents would get me during Christmas, but nothing I wouldn't really play them too seriously. And then of course my main group of friends were pretty serious gamers. So I got into that, and now that we're older, they've kind of tapered off, and I'm the only one who's like, "Hey, you guys want to play some Halo? You want
Yeah,
to get online?" And it to me it just reminds me of the old days where we just act stupid and make each other laugh. But yeah, I don't consider myself a serious gamer. I do game, but I don't really care.
yeah,
But I enjoy it. It's a stress reliever or a boredom reliever.
yeah. I mean, it's absolutely fun. So I would never, it's just weird because you're just like, as you get older, there's just so many things that interest you, and then it's just there's a filter that's kind of just naturally built up around you for years that kind of forces you to do a few things, that you
Hmm.
have to do. And then the little bit of time left, it's really like you got to prioritize.
Right, right. Well, I think that just the comes with being an adult, setting priorities. I just hate being an adult sometimes.
Yeah, it's pretty lousy. I think that I think it's also too, yeah. I mean, responsibilities, of course, you're more aware of them, so you can't just shirk them, like you did when you were a kid, because you're
Right.
like you really didn't see anything wrong with, spending an entire weekend plugged into a video game. Now I feel like there's some kind of moral imperative that like makes me need to be doing something productive.
Right, right. They're like, oh man, I could have been blah blah blah.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. How did the band get become the winter sound?
Um, well, it just started kind of just um, with me. I had a bunch of songs. I just went and recorded them and kind of put it together. It was at the time it was a side project.
Hmm.
So I like. I mean, ever since then, it's been all I've really done. My other projects kind of fizzled out, and then from there it's just continued to exist for 7 or 8 or almost probably even close to 10 years. I think the band's first album came out in 2007,
Hmm.
so it's getting close to 10 years. But I don't know I don't know what anyone else thinks about it kind of from the outside. I mean, if it even feels like a band or not. I think it's just kind of sustained, by the few albums that we have put out have been, at least I've felt good about them creatively. I haven't been embarrassed,
Hmm.
or wanted to walk away. And then I don't see like there being any like limitation musically or creatively kind of within the band itself. Like, I mean, there's no like self-imposed limitation at least. And then the people that I've played with for a really long time are kind of just open to whatever. They like the drummer that's in the band now is my good friend, of course, and I mean we just do everything we can think of when we're jamming just
Hmm.
musically, and then we're doing like another project. The two of us were called the Ukuleles, which is just gonna be ukulele covers of old punk songs that we grew up
There,
listening to.
there we go.
Yeah, which I haven't actually searched that name to see if it probably exists because it's kind of too obvious, but at least in Nashville it'll be fun to do a few shows. It's not a planned release, but just for fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I so so the it just kind of continues to exist, I guess, by default. And so we've been a band for a long time, but actively there's been times where there just hasn't been anything going on for a year. This is probably the longest I think we've ever gone without playing shows, which is about 6 or 7 months.
Hmm. Do you feel a little anxious?
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I do, but I also have it's kind of been one of those things where I don't want to play a show again until it's just completely amazing. you
Right.
know.
Okay.
Which I don't know what that means. I don't think I have like such a high. I can't actually. I don't have that high of a standard because I am just not a really honestly talented musician. I just enjoy it, and then
Mhm.
but as in terms of technically good or whatever sonically or being able to dial in tones that just blow people's minds, I don't really do any of that. So I think, but I do think that now I have like a little bit higher standard for what I want it to sound like. So
Mhm.
I want to, the next kind of wave, should be by the end of the summer. We're gonna do a few shows, but I'm thinking it's gonna be really good, at least in terms of like the sound quality.
There you go. And so the last time you played with the guys was like 6 months ago.
Yeah, it was in October.
Okay.
We played Otherfest in Cleveland,
Mm-hmm.
September or October. I can't remember, but yeah, it's been a long time. I mean, we've played, practiced and recorded a bunch since then. Um, and even had some friends come up, like one of the guy, actually the main guy, he and I co-wrote the Church of the Haunted South together. He came up and did a few songs a week ago in Nashville. Um, there's a bunch of different people there that I play with that all kind of contribute to their part creatively. So
Right.
yeah, I guess there isn't really, it's not really like a shortage of output, but it's just not been released yet. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah.
And as far as touring goes, let's just say they're all your favorite places to go. Is there one place that sticks out in your mind a little bit more?
Um, Let me think. So I used to always say Pittsburgh,
Right.
and that just I feel like that's kind of cheating now because it's just such an easy answer. I mean, it's
Is it?
when we first well, weird because when we first went there,
Uh-huh.
it was just like the people that we played with, we became really good friends, and I've stayed
Oh,
friends
okay.
with them
Hmm.
now for long, and it expanded from one band to another, and now it's like now I went to Pittsburgh for my birthday and just to hang out, like,
Yeah.
and I'm close enough too that it's easier, but. Um, so I'm trying to just think of something unique that stands out. I mean, we've done a lot of like really just kind of wild shows. Like, well, two at least that were outside of the country. One was in Mexico. We played a sort of a prom for a university. It was kind of like thrown together by a teacher that
Okay.
was teaching English in Monterey, and he threw this. They had this big house party, but it was a lot of people, and it was a costume party.
Oh, okay.
It was kind of like like luchador. What is it? Luchadors themed, I guess.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. The Mexican wrestler
Yeah.
wrestling.
So
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
So yeah, we went and did that, and that was crazy, and it was a lot of fun. And then we went out to Halifax and played the Halifax Pop Explosion,
Oh, okay. Is
which
I'm
which then Halifax probably is a lot like Portland or like you said you were from Portland.
Oregon. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
Salem, which is like an hour outside of Portland.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just trying to think of a particular venue. Well, there's one in Charleston, South Carolina called the Tin Roof, which
Uh-huh.
is feels like home. It's just my absolute favorite place. And now it's probably been a year or more since we played there, so I don't even know if the staff would be the same. But
Mm.
just a small kind of not really a dive. Like they serve gourmet hot dogs, and it's like mostly just an outdoor space, and it's just really nice. Got a really good vibe. But everybody there has always been really good to us, and it's in South Carolina, so
Yeah.
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 Well, actually, so there in South Carolina, Radio Room is a place in Greenville, South Carolina that we probably played the most.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's just always a really fun time.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I'm very pro Canada as well. So it's me and my buddy. We have this sort of band, and I say a sort of band because it's him and I, and we just jam. It's just for fun. We made uh an album that we haven't released just because like let's just do it for fun. And we need to play two shows. We played one in Oregon and one in Canada, and then we'll be retired forever.
So wait, you need to, or you have played?
No, we need to. We've only
Yeah,
played in Oregon, so once we play in Canada, we'll be international, and then we can just retire.
brilliant.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
you just and then you gotta just construct that really elaborate Wikipedia page.
yes, exactly. I have the documentary like done in my head.
Yeah,
But it's always music for me has always been just a stress reliever.
yeah,
And so like with your music, whenever I walk around or I watch my nephew play t-ball, I always have my headphones in, just listening, constantly listening to music, just because it it's it's my center. It helps me focus for some reason.
yeah. I'm the
So
same way.
yeah.
I mean, you're probably, there's probably like an argument that could be made that it occupies a part of your brain that would otherwise be distracted, so you can take in,
Hmm.
like kind of whatever you're reading or listening to or watching or absorbing, you can enjoy it more
Right.
because
Yeah.
music's busying like a part of your brain that would otherwise be like clamoring for attention.
Right. And it's so weird to see certain situations sync up with the music as well. Whatever I'm listening to, I'll just be sitting there
Yeah.
and I'll be watching a bag fly in the air. And then next thing you know, the Drive soundtrack kicks in. And then, oh, look, it's syncing up to this random bag flying in the air.
Kavinsky.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, so I know what you mean. I feel like that's kind of the mark of a good song because I mean this would get super philosophical, but yeah, I
Mm.
mean there's a language that music speaks that no one you can't really. I mean you can speak it, but it's sort of more of a syntactical thing. Like the meaning part just kind of you don't really drive towards the meaning when you write a song. It's more of like you just put these pieces together and then the meaning kind of pops out when it's assembled kind of randomly. So
Hmm.
I always notice whenever I'm listening to a song, I sit in coffee shops like pretty much all day until I go to work,
Yeah.
and I'm just headphones in and just trying to focus on whatever paper, whatever, project. And
Yeah.
I'll just look up for a second when a song just really strikes me. And it's like all the movement all around me, what everyone's doing, all the mundane stuff just seems beautiful. It just feels really good. And I think that's, the power of it is that it does transform like the kind of life experience you're having into something greater. It adds more value to it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, definitely. And even when I was in high school, I always wore headphones. I would have one ear exposed, one ear in music. And I remember a teacher was giving me crap because I had music playing. And she goes, Chris, are you even listening to me? I go, yeah, of course. Okay, what did I just say? And I exactly told her what she said. And she just looked at me and said, okay, then. And then just left me alone for the
I
two
love that.
years.
Yeah, I love that teachers just try to call you out on repeating whatever. Not you.
Right.
That's like a teacher strategy
Right.
because you may. I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't work for you because it obviously does. But like the concept may be lost, but you can repeat the like the last few words.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It really helps me uh,
When I
center.
when I first went to college, I remember I found a way where I could take like some of the harder stuff that was for me to read because I was sort of experimenting with like different like medication, I guess, for to help with attention deficit disorder.
Hmm.
But I found that like what actually worked really well was doing really just your basic like hand and exercises on piano, really simple scales that you're supposed to just run, to kind of build your dexterity. You don't really even have to. I mean, you're supposed to just do them over and over and over again. And
Hmm.
I found that I could prop a book up and run these scales and just take in the information like so much quicker and easier, and the concepts would stay and they'd stick around.
Uh-huh.
And I think it was just that the part of my brain that would be looking for something to think about that wasn't boring was occupied. So
Yeah. No,
yeah,
right. So, moral of the story is everyone should listen to music when they're doing stuff.
yeah.
If it helps, I guess. I'll say if it helps cuz I don't want people, have headphones in when they're driving during a construction area.
Yeah, or mixing a record. You don't want to be just listening to other random music at the same time.
Although
That'd be great too.
mixing a record while they're driving, that might be interesting.
Yeah, there's probably yeah, I'm sure it's happened. Maybe Phil Spector did it.
Oh, no, he's done a lot of things, so yeah, I'm sure he has. Old
You know,
Spectre.
like thinking back to your band, actually, like what I like about it already, which makes me a fan, uh, is that the qualifications for success are obtainable. Um, and that the project is just fun at the core. You know, the goals of the project have nothing to do with the creative output of the project. So you
Right.
just got to play those two shows, and then but in order to book the shows, you have to have the music. So it's kind of that comes first. But yeah, but it is cool to think about like taking all the business out of it, and just making it about the spontaneous aesthetic, of like just writing and playing,
Yeah.
trying to have fun with it. And I think a lot of like real actually, what is it, the Thermals? They're from Portland, right?
Oh yeah,
Or-
yeah.
yeah, so their whole aesthetic is just hit record and release, like
Yeah.
and that you can hear it in the music. I mean, it just feels really fresh and interesting, and the words don't necessarily always come together in a way that it makes sense, but it's just as artistic as anything Jim Morrison ever wrote.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I like to do film. I went to school for film. So film is very much what drives me, and that's why I listen to a lot of music, just because it helps me processing, if I'm doing a script or whatever. But music was always that thing where I can just relax or get frustration out. So that's why I never like if I'm not I mean I've been drumming for like 12 years now. I don't if a guy came up to me and said, "Here, we're going to sign you. We're going to do this blah, blah," I would just say no, because that would take the fun out of it.
Yeah.
So it's just always been something fun and something that's mine.
So film, what's something film wise you've taken in recently that you really like?
Um, I watch a lot of movies. That's a hard one.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I did. I guess I was gonna see, or shows even. I can't even. I can't think of something I've seen recently myself.
Hmm.
I could probably check. Well, I've watched Game of Thrones.
Yeah, yeah.
That's become like the 1 hour break in like the week of monotony that is like the relief, which
Yeah.
is that it's like its own kind of set of. It's kind of stressful in its own way.
See, I've never watched Game of Thrones. I have respect for it, but I think it's now to the point where it's so big and huge and popular where I feel like I've missed the boat. And
Yeah, it's not as well. Yeah, I can see what you mean. I mean, it's
yeah.
weird because yeah, so maybe last year there was a kind of a peak for me for the show where
Mhm.
I was like, how could this ever get old? Was
Right.
how it felt. And right almost at that exact same moment was like a threshold was kind of crossed. And then I realized that everything that came after for me personally was going to be like kind of a recycling of different themes. Like there was themes that were starting to pop up now, and there was just the way that certain characters acted that were so rigid, that
Yeah.
they kind of exhausted their possibilities, And then even the idea of the show, were just like somebody you like gets killed,
Hmm.
or there's like lots of like naked women,
Right.
so I watch it with my wife, and like there's always, for us, we're kind of like, come on, let's see some penis, because now
Right. Right. Yeah.
it's got annoying to me. The uh I, I don't really care about the nudity. Like I'm not like I don't care. I
You
just
don't
don't.
freeze frame or anything like that.
Right,
You're just
right,
like,
yeah.
oh, it happened.
But it doesn't bother me that it's there. It's
Right.
not like offensive. It's just kind of now it just feels a little gratuitous, especially because it's not like counterbalanced with like male anatomy.
Right.
So then the part of it that might have felt maybe somewhere subconsciously that it was like the show was really real, because if somebody was naked, they're naked. Now it's like there isn't a penis, so then it feels awkward now if there's just like a naked guy, because it's just going to be like an ass shot, and that's
Right.
it.
Well, I was watching this thing on BuzzFeed, or I don't know where they saw it, but it was one of those YouTube channels where they make people watch certain things. And so one of them was they wanted two best friends to watch porn. and one of the ladies was saying, guys really like it when boobs, pop out, but ladies don't like it when all of a sudden a penis pops out. And I go, oh, that's kind of interesting. But we're, I mean, I'm not a girl. I'm assuming you're not a girl because you don't sound like one, and but yeah, that was just a very interesting point to me.
Yeah, yeah. Let me shut this window. This train's about to
It's
drown us
coming
out.
in. It's coming in.
There's a train track that runs right through my house. I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
jeez.
Yeah, yeah. I guess in that sense of it, then what you just described kind of makes sense why
Yeah.
there would be like this counterbalance, because the demographic maybe that would appeal to doesn't exist, or it's not women, at least.
Right.
So yeah. Plus, I think that I mean, right away I can think of the times where I've been somewhere and a penis has popped out.
Right.
It's usually a pretty low. It's like a dark place. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
it's a truck stop bathroom. It's the floor of a grocery store from some crazy person.
Yeah. Well, see, the only thing I can think of is the movie The Watchmen, where
Yeah.
Mr. Manhattan just shows his blue penis, and it's just it's just right there. So it's like, well, I think I gotta stare at it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's CG, so technically it's not real, but
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it can be distracting. You have to purge it from your system so you can
Right.
kind of pay attention to the movie. Just got to stare at it long enough till it loses all its meaning.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but that's cool. I actually think that it's awesome that you haven't seen Game of Thrones, because like I don't really even I only brought it up because it's really probably the only thing I've watched in a while that I can think of off the top of my head. So and it's just and then before that, of course, it just came back on. So there's just been like kind of months of just. Oh, I guess we watched Community. I like that show a lot.
Community, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm a huge Community fan.
Yeah.
My last podcast, me and my buddy would just talk nonstop about Community, and it makes me so happy that the show is still going.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And Donald Glover too. You had Derek. I can't remember his last
Oh
name.
yeah, Derek Derkus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, like, I watched or I listened to that interview, and then I watched all those Mystery Team clips, because
Oh yeah.
it's been so long since I've seen them too, and I just forgot how awesome all of that was, and it is, I guess. But yeah, and Community is really creative, and like it has that kind of like meta theme to it that I feel like is. I just enjoy stuff a little bit more when like it's. I was thinking about it today, like I feel like Community pulls together ideas the way like you do when you have to write or when you're reading maybe a really good essay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the plot is really important, even if it's a silly concept. It's kind of the plot is like the thesis, and so all the stuff that comes out of it has to fit into this kind of whole, as opposed to the plot in like most sitcoms is like a backdrop to all the usual stuff that's going to happen anyway.
Right. Yeah. 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 No,
But
I'm still so happy that show's going on. I
yeah,
miss it is very different from when it started. I do miss Donald Glover. I miss Donald Glover being
yeah,
funny in general,
yep,
but
yeah.
it's
Yeah,
okay.
he's just. I actually really like Childish Gambino. He's
Yeah.
just someone that I just kind of enjoy following everything that he does.
I just wish he was funny. I don't know. I feel like the music Childish Gambino has taken over.
Yeah.
I
Well,
want it. I want him to say funny stuff and
yeah.
make me laugh.
Well, yeah. I mean, there has to be like kind of a. I mean, yeah, I know what you mean. I'm
Yeah,
trying to think of how to kind of.
he made me fall in love with him, and then he's like, "No, that funny stuff, no, because
Yeah.
the internet, I'm going that way." I'm like, "All right."
So is that what Because the Internet means? Because I've kept meaning to read like the Because the Internet script for the last album, but or is that what is that? I don't actually know what that is specifically.
I have no idea either. I have Camp, and that was the last album I have of his, and
Yeah.
then he left Community, and I got a sour taste in my mouth.
Hmm.
So I have no idea because the internet is.
Yeah. Well, I wish I had actually looked it up to
Okay.
prior to this conversation because
That's all good. Well, okay, so we have something to talk about next time then.
yeah,
I'm gonna
definitely.
ask you because the internet.
And I'm gonna, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually write a paper on it, and then
There we go.
I'll turn it in for a grade with you.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you get a good grade, you can, put my name on it. If you don't, that's fine. You can leave my name on
Yeah, definitely.
it. But for the people at home who'd like to know more information on the Winter Sounds, where can they do that?
They can click on the links right below this interview on your page.
There we. Oh my gosh, you know everything about my podcast. It's so great.
I don't know. I do know a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
I wanted to go. I listened to the last interview and then the one right before it with Yvette, I guess.
Oh yeah, Yvette. Yeah.
Yvette, yeah. I did want to mention this. So I have a friend that's a comedian. He was on the show called Ground Floor. His
Mm.
name's Rory Scovel.
Rory. Yeah, yeah. He's
Okay.
super funny guy. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So he went to school at this place in South Carolina called St. Mary's,
Mm-hmm.
like a same. So, and it was a really small school. It was like a private Catholic elementary school in the Bible Belt, the Southern Baptist wing of the Bible Belt, South Carolina, et cetera. So it's kind of a weird place, but yeah, he went there, and then I guess he was doing his thing, comedy, and I was doing music, and we sort of just our names kind of popped up in each other's life thread or whatever, and we kind of met up, past like a few years ago, and after years, and just have that kind of shared experience of South Carolina and the school and everything. But anyway, so we've kept up, and he's just and I genuinely think he's hilarious.
I watch him. I mean, I watched his Conan appearances, but he did a couple episodes of Getting Doug with High.
Yep, I saw that.
He's hysterical on that.
Yeah.
It just I always smile whenever he just says something funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean and what's beautiful actually too, so he came to Nashville and did like a performance at it's called Third Man Records. They released it on vinyl, which I actually have the vinyl, but I haven't played the vinyl because I don't have a record player because I just don't for whatever stupid reason.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I was at the show and I just it's like it's so crazy to me because I've seen him enough now to know that like 90% of it is just improv, his improvisation on like jokes maybe that he starts, but then he just kind of runs with it in crazy directions. And
Yeah.
I remember thinking like when I was watching the performance, like there's one point where he was, he's like laying on the floor of the stage and it's like sold out. It's like it's not a huge room, but it's 200 people or whatever,
Yeah.
screaming at the top of his lungs to what is kind of supposed to be a tiny person that just like very tiny person that's like ant size, and he's just screaming at the top of his lungs. And I was like, there's just no way this is going to make any sense when we'll listen to it on the record.
Yeah.
But being at the show, I was just totally like, this is awesome. And so there's always been that part of me that kind of I know him, and now that I feel like we're friends, it's like because I guess I wonder kind of in reverse if maybe he feels the same way about musically kind of what I'm doing and stuff. But I feel like I can genuinely say that I'm a fan because if you have your pick and like YouTube, you can go and type in any comedian and just sit and thumb through like hundreds of videos and stuff. And I actually do that with Rory whenever sometimes I'm just bored and I just start pulling up videos.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, he's great, and he did a special. And he asked us to write a song for it.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Which I did, and I sent it to him, and I was like, if you don't like it, don't worry about it. If you like it, I'm going to record it, make it sound really awesome, because I sent him a demo.
Mm-hmm.
So he said he liked it, and I believed him. So then I recorded it, and it turned out pretty good. And I guess he liked it enough, and he used it. He put it in his special.
Okay.
So we've had this song done, and I guess that's going to be like the single that's supposed to come out pretty much any time, in the next month or so. But I've been kind of waiting a little bit because Netflix has the special, and they, I guess, are going through the process of deciding whether or not they're going to release it on Netflix. So I texted him to see if I could mention it because I don't know how any of that stuff works, and he said yes. So
Nice,
I wanted
nice.
to mention that we should definitely petition Netflix to put this special out.
There we go. All right, so everyone at home, go tweet it and say at Netflix and Rory Scovel,
Yeah,
and get this message out.
yeah. Because I kind of want to hold on to the song until the special's out because I want to help. I mean, I don't think he'll need I don't think our help will be as much as his help for the song.
No, I think our help will be pretty huge.
But yeah, well, that would be the best thing then is if we could just mutually help each other with that. And
There you go.
yeah,
But Patrick, I've had a blast chatting with you. We have to do it again whenever you want. Just drop me an email, Twitter, whatever. I like chatting with you. You're a good guy.
cool, man. Thanks. Same to you. And yeah, thank you.
So yeah, thank you. You have a wonderful day, and keep on rocking. All right.
Awesome. Yeah, you too, Chris.
All right. Bye bye.
All right. See ya. Bye.